What's up, guys? I'm Nobody Special, and this may come as a shock to some of you, but the stock market is rigged. Secret trading platforms called dark pools are being used to obscure data and hide information from you, the retail investor, to place you at a disadvantage and give the advantage to the big players. You ready? Hit it. Thank you for joining me. My name's Jack Gamble, and I'm Nobody Special. And to understand what dark pools are, I want to tell you a little story. We're going to go way back to April of 1964 in Orange County, Florida. And this company nobody had ever heard of, the Latin American Development and Management Company, started buying land. At the same time, another company called the Reedy Ranch Corporation started buying land. This is swampland in the middle of Florida that really had no value. Interestingly enough, these companies were securing the options to buy this land for cash, and they weren't filing the paperwork right away. Within a few weeks, more than 51 transactions for land purchases were closed all at the same time, representing over 27,400 acres of property at an average price of $182 an acre were closed all at the same time. It was a sneak attack. And on October 25th of 1965, the public found out what the real story was. The Latin American Development and Management Corporation and the Reedy Ranch Corporation were front companies for a guy you may have heard of, a fellow by the name of Walt Disney. Turned out Disney had been buying huge tracts of land in secret under fake company names for what would later become Disney World, the largest theme park in the world. You see, Disney knew if he had bought one piece of land, the price for the second piece of land would have gone up, and the third piece of land would have gone up. And then once word got out that Walt Disney was buying land in Orange County, Florida, the price of all the land would have gone up. What Disney did in negotiating all those transactions in secret was he suppressed the flow of information to ensure that the sellers on the other side of the deal didn't know the whole story, and he was able to acquire those assets at an artificially low price. Disney had essentially created a dark pool for his real estate buys. Now, you would think in a stock market with publicly traded companies that is supposed to be free and open and transparent that this kind of thing would be illegal when it comes to stocks. But as a matter of fact, not only is it legal, but it has been institutionalized. The big players on Wall Street have created secret exchanges where they can trade huge blocks of stock back and forth away from the prying eyes of the public to make sure their transactions don't affect price. And the SEC knows about it. The SEC has actually facilitated the creation of these entities since the 80s. There are over 59 registered alternative trading systems, otherwise known as dark pools, in existence. Now, we're told these dark pools are used for our own good, that they facilitate large transactions and that they help us secure the best prices for our stock trades when we make orders. Or put plainly, vital information is withheld from us for our own good. Sound familiar? I mean, powerful people would never suppress the flow of information out of nefarious or self-serving reasons, right? It's almost always out of benevolence and their overwhelming virtue and desire to do right by we, the little guy, right? The fact is, dark pools enable hedge funds and market makers and prime brokers to trade in and out of massive stock positions without us being alerted so that they can secure themselves favorable pricing. We're told it's for our own good, but we're always the last to know. Because God forbid retail investors be informed that large institutions are buying in and out of certain companies. God forbid we have access to that information and we're able to make more informed choices for ourselves, right? We need to have that information withheld from us for our own good, for our protection. And what does that look like today? Take a look at AMC stock over the last few months. Now, this is a stock where supposedly 80% of the float is owned by retail investors who would sooner sell their firstborn than part with one share of their AMC stock. And yet this stock has been on a steady march downward for the better part of a month and a half. And then we find out yesterday that more than 70% of the volume in AMC stock yesterday took place in dark pools. More than 70% of the transactions in that stock were hidden from the public eye. Could it be that all of the buy orders from AMC stock are taking place in the dark pools and all of the sell orders are taking place on the public exchanges. So what's the net effect? Just like Disney's real estate transactions, all of our buys are held in secret, keeping the price artificially low to protect their short positions. In other words, we're being ripped off on a grand scale, and the SEC knows about it. The SEC has facilitated it, and they refuse to do anything about it. Now, I want to remind the SEC of their mission. From their own website, they have 3 mandates. The first is to protect investors. How are we being protected when they've created the infrastructure to allow the bigwigs to hide information from us, to place them at an advantage and us at a disadvantage? How does that protect investors? The other mandate is to maintain fair, orderly, and efficient markets. How is it fair when the retail players don't have access to the same information that the big dogs have? Isn't that the very definition of insider trading? How is that a fair market when half of the people don't understand? Do you think those landowners in Florida were operating in a fair market when they agreed to sell their land, but it was being withheld from them that the buyer was the largest theme park owner in the world? Do you think they got a fair price for their land? And the third mandate, facilitating capital formation. That one I had to do a little research on. Apparently, the SEC defines facilitating capital formation as helping investors and other capital providers to make informed decisions. Helping us to make informed decisions. How does allowing 70% of the transactions in a stock to take place in secret allow investors to make informed decisions? The SEC is totally asleep at the wheel. Gary Gensler knows this is happening, and he is doing nothing to stop it. These markets are rigged. AMC stock in particular is being totally manipulated in secret. Investors are being robbed, and that says nothing about the potentially hundreds of millions of synthetic shares that have been created through naked shorting and failures to deliver. And if our regulators want to avoid a catastrophic loss in faith in our financial system, they better get on top of this issue fast. Allowing huge transactions of stock to take place in secret off the exchange, away from the eyes of the public, only serves the institutions. It does not help the investors. It does not help us make informed decisions. It does not facilitate a free market or a fair market. If a big player selling stock alerts the public that something is going on and allows the public to make an informed decision to sell their own stock at the same time as the big guy, that's a fair market. Allowing the big guy to dump his shares in secret before the little guy knows, that's not a fair market. That is a rigged market. The dark pools have to go. But you know what? They're not getting my AMC shares. I'm still holding them. You hear me, Ken Griffin? You're not getting my AMC shares for no $38 or $40 or 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Nope. We see what you're doing. You're not going to get away with it. You're only delaying the inevitable. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Hit that notification bell. It would really help me out. In the meantime, live small and dream big.